turn with me tonight to Luke's Gospel, chapter 2. Let me tell you this. Generally speaking, when you, as a ministerial student, when you take biblical Hebrew, some of the most simple Hebrew in the Bible, and the Old Testament was written mostly in the Hebrew language. You study a simple book. The most simple Hebrew in the whole Old Testament is the book of Ruth. It's 4 chapters long, and so you generally translate it. You build your vocabulary from it. You study the book of Ruth because you can cover it in a semester of school, and it has very simple. It's easier to translate. It's not easy to translate. It's easier to translate than other books, and so that usually in the New Testament it's usually the first epistle of John. But the reason I say that is because I had never studied much at all in the book of Ruth. But over the years, I've continued to go back to it because I wanted to stay in touch with I never wanted to. A lot of the things I studied when I was in elementary school and high school, I wasn't serious about school, and just a lot of things I didn't learn. Let's be honest with you. I just got by. I did everything that I could just to get by. I wasn't trying to learn. As a matter of fact, I was in horror that I might actually learn something from time to time. But when I became a Christian, and especially when I became a preacher, I wanted to do well, and I wanted to please the Lord. Colossians 3:23 says, "Whatsoever you do, do it heartily as unto the Lord." And I wanted my preaching to be fresh and powerful, and I wanted it to be passionate, and I wanted it to be clear, and I wanted it to get from the minds of people's minds into their hearts. And so, at a certain point of my maturity, I didn't want to let the Hebrew or any of the things that I learned in college to ever just slip away. And so many of my ministerial friends, they tell me truthfully now, so I can't even read a lick of Hebrew, or I can't translate anything. And it's not because they're less intelligent or because they're less dedicated than I. It's just that I just couldn't do that. And I probably don't remember everything that I learned. But how God has used that is, I saw some things in the book of Ruth that really changed my life. Not just my ministerial life, not even just my spiritual life, but my entire existence. So what we're going to do is I'm going to lead you through, and it may be scattered, and who knows how long it'll take. But we're going to begin tonight a study of the book of Ruth in the Old Testament. And in a little bit, probably all I'm going to do tonight is just give you a thumbnail synopsis of the book of Ruth. But I learned through a study, and I've never preached through Ruth since all of this light went on in my head. It's nothing new, or it's not a new doctrine or new teaching from the Scripture. It's just things that are new to me in this area of where I've grown. Because I found more answers to my questions in the pathway that I want to lead you in about the will and the workings of God than anything else I've ever learned. Sometimes the way God does things and His will just so mystifies me, sometimes aggravates me, and sometimes infuriates me. And a great deal of the wrestlings that I have with God have to do with trying to and struggling with the will of God. Why does He do these things? Why did He allow this? Why did He permit this to happen? The song, there's a reason. And in all of this, I have never let go of that thought or that notion that I may not know what it is, but there's a reason for this. Sometimes that's the only thing that has helped me kind of get through things, I don't understand this. Carter might say, why did God make an appendix if all it's good for is taking out? Now tonsils, we know what tonsils do. They get in there and they have a purpose, but you can live without it. just sound like a girl for the rest of your life. That's the problem. Take your tonsils out. And you can't spit. No, none of that's true. I asked God, what is the point of this? What is the point of this? I said, God, is this like a lot of my sermons that doesn't have a point? But the story of Ruth, it's really kind of a little Harlequin romance story that's just stuck right in the middle of the Old Testament. And you look at it and say, what in the world has this got to do with anything? What does this have to do with God? What does this have to do with my relationship with God? What does this have to do with salvation? Or why is there a story about a man and a woman falling in love with each other and getting married and having a baby? Why is this here? It just seems like a waste of Bible space. But I've come to see that without the book of Ruth, without the story of Ruth, there would have been no Christmas in Bethlehem. No Christmas in Bethlehem. I think of the book of Ruth as preparing for Christmas. Preparing for Christmas. You know when men do their Christmas shopping? Christmas Eve, that's right. Down at the gas station. We hope it's open. I need 3 of those ice scrapers and got a tire gauge. I know my wife would love a tire gauge. Some of you have met my sister-in-law, Liz. Liz does Christmas all year long. When I get a Christmas present from my sister-in-law, I know that she has thought and pondered what I would like to have and what would be just perfect for me. And she scours the countryside, and wherever she goes and whatever she does, she's looking for that thing that would be perfect for me. And she has a long Christmas list. And I don't get gifts like that. If you ever get a Christmas gift from me, you can be sure that my wife bought it for you. And she has said, do you think he'll like it? And I said, I don't care if he likes it or not. I just don't want him to be able to say I didn't get him nothing. This is at church, and I drew James Owen's name, and I don't care if he likes it or not. I don't care if he's got 12 of them. But this is his present. I don't care. He might just throw it away. Still, I've done my part. I'm finished. Ho, ho, ho. My sister-in-law is a wonderful person. She is like that. And so when I get a present from her, it's always very nice. The deacons gave Terry and I a gift yesterday, some financial gift to help us on our trip to New Orleans. And Terry said, is this from the deacons or is this from the whole church? I said, I don't believe these guys have got that much money all together. Right. I said, I think this is from the whole church. James came into the deacons meeting yesterday, and he had just sold a trailer, and we were all going to go out and eat. And he said, I gave the money to Renee.
And I told Lauren, I said, come on, let's go before you dig it some.
Yeah. That's why Lauren is in town this weekend. She heard that there was cash at home.
That's why Nathan is too.
Yeah. I heard Daddy sold the camper. Let's go visit. Thank you for that gift. That's very kind. I appreciate that. You don't know how thoughtful that is and how much it's appreciated. Danny and Liz gave us a gift as well. That doesn't mean that you can take part of your gift back. They helped us, and I told them it was exactly what I wanted. It was the right size, and it fit just right, and it was the perfect gift. It was green, and it was cash. So we were just wondering if, how we're going to buy gas down there and back, since it costs about $1 million to fill up our van now. Terry, and I can't get into that. I don't know if I ever will. Terry drives all over town looking for the cheapest gas. Let's just pull in. Let's just get it here. It doesn't matter how much it costs. Let's take out a loan. We can use the house as collateral or something. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Let's just. And so she told me today, she said, put in $5 worth. I said, we'll run out of gas before we get out of the parking lot. $5 worth of gas? Because we were having to buy it at an expensive place, because I had run us nearly out of gas, and we were not anywhere near the cheap places. Preach it. This doesn't sound anything like a sermon. This is how I do therapy. I can't afford a marriage counselor, so I just get up and talk to y'all. I know that y'all's home's not anything like this. Is it, Ned? Now, Ned's wife's not here tonight. He wouldn't get all the joy out of that. Nikki, don't ever marry Andrew. It's just look at her daddy. Look at his daddy. That's how it's going to work out. That's the best you're ever going to be able to hope for. Talk to Karen. She just, please don't. No, we love you, but. My sister-in-law was probably responsible for that act of gratitude, because my brother loves me too, but he doesn't love me that much. And she does. God took longer preparing for Christmas than that. God took a long time preparing for Christmas. When I use Christmas, I'm really not just talking about the holiday. I'm not just talking about Santa Claus or gifts. I'm not even talking about just Jesus' birthday or Jesus just coming to Bethlehem. To me, now, it didn't once. It used to be that, all of that, but just that. When I use the word Christmas now, I want you to know that that's